Well, Saskatchewan is home to more than 20,000 canola farmers. It's Canada's largest canola producer, and the Premier of the province has been pressing for action from Ottawa. Scott Moe joins me now from Regina. Premier Moe, good to see you again. Thanks for taking time to speak with me.
Good to see you, Peter.
What is your reaction to the federal aid package for canola farmers unveiled today?
Well, we're appreciative of the federal government that has moved largely on the proposal that we had put forward on March 26th to our Prime Minister and to the federal government that they've moved forward on today. It provides our producers some access to capital here in the spring seeding season and buys us just a little bit of time as they have that access where they would otherwise, it's important to note, have the cash in hand if we were able to actually sell the canola product that remains in storage. So this is a good first step. The broader challenge now is for us to work with the federal government to open up the conversation with China on the broader trade relationship that we have had for so many years and that we need to have into the future.
Okay, you had asked for $1 million ceiling interest-free instead it's $500,000 in the announcement today. Will that be good enough to help the farmers get through all of this?
I don't know, what could possibly be good enough. Ultimately, I guess what would be good enough is for us to be able to sell our products into markets like China, and particularly China. That has been a strong market for that product. So that's the ultimate solution. What this is really an Advil pill, if you will, to just alleviate some of the short-term symptoms, very short-term symptoms. We need to now refocus and with our federal government on how we're actually going to engage on the broader challenge, which is our market access for canola into China. Yes, we'll work with the federal government on everything we can do to open up other markets. That is good practice anyways, and we'll most certainly be participating in that effort. But we also need to participate in the effort on how do we actually engage with China to ensure that we can have the trading relationship that we've enjoyed over the last number of years into the future.
That's really the big question, isn't it? To solve a problem, you have to know exactly what the problem is and how to deal with it. The government says it takes China at its word that this is a science-based dispute, not a diplomatic dispute. What do you think it is?
Well, we need someone on the ground to be able to engage with China to actually start to have this conversation around what exactly is going on here, and a good place to start and it would be the appointment of a permanent ambassador, so that we do have someone in China, a point of contact for Chinese industry, Chinese government officials, but also a good point of contact for us in provincial governments, but most notably our federal government, in starting to open up and broaden the conversation between our nations on what has been a $100 billion trading relationship over the last number of years, and one that I think, in fairness, we both want to continue as we move forward.
Yeah, you have a lot riding on this. Your province has a lot riding on this. So it can be a delicate process, I know that, but do you believe the federal government needs to take tougher measures to send a message to China? And what would those measures be if you do?
Well, we need to ensure that we are aware as the federal government, as well as provincial governments, inform the federal government of what those measures could be as we move along, and when we think it'd be appropriate to start looking at those. We need to have those measures available, as we do in any trade negotiation. There's levers that can be pulled on all sides of any trade negotiation, and I think my predecessor had said at one point, walk softly but carry a big list. I think we need to know what those levers are. We've bought ourselves a little bit of breathing space here on the ground in Saskatchewan and across the nation with this support here today. But we do need to engage in this market, as it is a very important market for Saskatchewan agriculture, the Saskatchewan economy, but also the Canadian economy as we trade back and forth. Like I said, about $100 billion a year. This is no small issue. This is an issue for all Canadians.
The federal agriculture minister is just telling me that we have other options, and you've alluded to those other options if this dispute continues. Federal government doesn't seem prepared to use them yet, but how will you know when it's time? Do you have any advice on this about when it's time to say, okay, maybe we start inspecting Chinese goods coming into Canada more closely to send a message back that says we're not happy with the way we're being dealt with?
Well, we don't have a lot of time to work our way through this. We have weeks and months really to find our way through this as we get closer to fall, and if we're not able to move out our old crop in the case of canola, we have a new crop that will be coming in. So we need to engage quickly and swiftly with the nation. I think a good place to start would be to have that permanent ambassador in place so that everyone has a central place to start that communication process. So we'll be looking to that sooner rather than later would be our hope, and looking to, in many ways, in our case in Saskatchewan, we have a lot of experience when it comes to exporting canola and working with countries on the export of that product, and we offer all of that to the federal government as we have for the number of months that we've been discussing this, and we continue to in a hope that we can move this conversation along and get to a place where we were not too long ago.
Okay, just a couple of questions to finish here. The government's going to use this dispute. Maybe that's not the right choice of words I wanted, but is going to take advantage of this situation as an opportunity to step up efforts to find new markets for Canadian canola, so as not to be so reliant on the Chinese. How realistic is that approach? Can you replace China as a canola customer for this country?
That's necessary work. That's work that I would put forward has been happening anyway. There is some room in other markets that we've been looking at and are going to be going into in the very near future, where we can increase some of our exports. I don't know that we'll be capable of replacing the entire amount of canola. The half of our canola crop ultimately goes to China. I don't think we'll be able to replace all of that market space, if you will. And ultimately, as we move forward and continue to expand our production and expand our export of this crop and other crops, China is part of our future export market. We are there for a reason. We were there with canola. We were there with other crops for a reason. It's been a strong export market for us. Ultimately, they need the products that we produce, and we're willing to give them some very high quality products. I would put forward in the case of canola, the highest quality canola that's available in the world. We've been able to deliver into China for a number of years now. We're there for a reason. I don't think we can replace it anytime soon, although we'll continue to work on those markets as we always do.
Okay, let's finish quickly on this. The Provincial Appeals Court will render its decision on your carbon tax challenge on Friday. What does it mean if you win?
Well, we're looking forward to just that type of an outcome. We're looking for a favorable decision. If we win, we would expect that the federal government would remove their backstop here in the province of Saskatchewan immediately.
What if you lose?
Well, I won't preclude what exactly happens. We'll let the results come in on Friday. But the fact of the matter is we've always indicated that it'll likely end up in the Supreme Court. But we are looking forward to a favorable outcome. We're happy with the cases that have been put forward, and we'll probably talk to you again on Friday.
Yeah, all right. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe, always good to speak with you. Thanks for taking time tonight.
Thank you, Peter.